Good evening, everyone, from upstate New York. Tom No Wetner, the conversationalist. How is everybody tonight? Well, let's do it. Like, subscribe, comment, share. I'm begging you, but a lot of people are using the new email, so it seems to be working out. I like that. And also, so that we keep informed here, Aortic Hope, give them a jingle. St. Jude's. Hey, they do a lot of good work. So, give them some pennies, quarters, nickels, dimes, fivers, whatever you can afford. And it seems to me that we, as a group, and when I say we, say 65 years and older, we could even do 60, I guess, but we're splitting hairs. I was at a presentation today, and a lot of the people stayed afterwards, and we talked about it, one thing or another. Get a bunch of people in the room, even though they don't know each other, they sure as hell will start talking. Well, that's what happened today. And I noticed a trend in these people. They were between 60 and 65, either getting ready to retire or already retired. And they had no plan. They didn't have any, not only a plan, but any understanding about the transition from full time work to retirement. And even more, they had no clue what old age does to the body and the mind. And, it seemed to be scary, scary that people weren't organizing their lives better. And then I thought, well, most people don't even have organized lives when they're in the 30s and 40s. So that wasn't good. But I'm talking about transitioning. Now, I had aortic disease in 2012. So that's like in December, it'll be 13 years, right? Well, my transition, because at the time I had my dissections, there was a 3-year period before I got them fixed. And then another period that ended 2 years ago. And when I finally said, hell with it, I'm just going to live my life the best I can. And I hope everybody understands that. And if you find me face down in the garden, just plant me. So transitions, think about it. I went through a transition. I was a executive chef. I couldn't do that anymore, and although I tried, failed miserably. So I had to make that transition. It was kind of forced on me. Now, these guys, they're not being forced on. No, it's coming their time to retire. A lot of them had 20 and out. Some of them had like 32 years in. I mean, it was ridiculous. Uh, they were working to pay taxes. So we were talking, and they were asking about my dissection and how I made the transition. Now that I'm a social media person, I love it. I love to say that the talent, makeup. Anyway, so the one thing I did do, I did Josh's favorite. You know what I mean? Vote, vote, vote. If you got a dog in the fight, then you got something that you can leech. Yeah, but they can latch onto. Hey, vote, 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 please. At least then you can vote them out if they don't do what you want, or vote them back in another term. That's term limits, guys. That's how it works. We don't need a bill passed. We don't need to change the Constitution. Just vote them out. Right? Seems simple enough. So the transition from being this full-time, in charge, megalomaniac, and now you're retired. And it isn't like there's a transition period. That you're going to retire on this date. You go down to H&R 3 days early and sign all the paperwork. You go down the day you retire and turn in all your IDs and your access cards and whatever, the keys to the truck if you're a truck driver. Anyway, understand what I'm saying to you, because this is really important. Transitioning not only to retirement, but to being 65 or older is about this: your mind, your mindset. All right, back, blow it all out. Now that you have time on your hands, now that you can formulate your life skills and your what your desires are and what's going to make your wife or husband happy, whatever it is. And don't tell me you're going to spend more time with the grandchildren, because that you get over that real quick, believe me. So, I fish. That's one thing I did while I was working, and it's also something that makes me comfortable. I can sit there, throw a line in the pond, and if I never catch a fish, that's okay. If I catch 10 fish, that's even better. Um, and I hide. I sincerely hide and take time for myself. So I have everything set up for Sunday. I'm going to do my morning ritual, which is get up and, you know, coffee and exercise and watching podcasts. So Sunday I have a cameraman and a pain in my tushy coming in the morning on Sunday uh, when I first get up. And we're going to try to do this as raw as possible. And then we'll send it to Josh and he can do his wizardry thing on it. Okay. Take 5 minutes to reflect every morning. Just 5 minutes. You get one of those egg timers, set it. That will make you feel like you're in control again, because it's a loss of control when you're transitioning, right? Because everything old is not fitting into the new holes. I mean, we took all these round pegs from our old life and now we're trying to pound them into square holes. That doesn't make sense, right? So you got to change, okay? Your behavior, your way of looking at things has to mature and has to be, you're in charge, right? You got thousands of people under you. You're running $1 million corporations. You're moving supplies and troops all over the world, and uh, you're in charge of a police department of 90 guys, 120 cars. You got to figure out all those SWAT cars they have. But you know what I'm talking about. And now the only person you're in charge of is yourself. You see that? You are now in charge of yourself, but you have not given yourself any orders in the last 30 or 40 years. However long you work, probably nowadays it's 30 years, because I'm one of the last ones that worked 40 years. Anyway, understand what we're going to do here is organize a safe, free zone that you can do whatever the hell you want. How's that? You don't have to be at the office at 7 o'clock, and you don't have to take lunch at this time, or put this report in, or go out and inspect this stuff. No, that's all over. Now your only client, your only person of responsibility is you. You're gonna love that. So you're in charge of your life, but that doesn't mean that you have to run yourself over and give yourself so much to do that you're back in your job. Get it? Um, I always tell people in the morning after your 5 minutes of reflection, and reflection can be anything. You can say, thank you, God, for waking me up this morning. Or you can, simply look outside or have a cup of coffee and say, it's not so bad today. I'm gonna do some good and I'm gonna be happy. Have you ever said that during your work career? Or no, you're just looking at the watch going, I'm gonna be 3 minutes late. Or they started a meeting without me. Well, guess what? The whole meeting is you. All right. Do yourself a favor. Put your phone in your bedside drawer when you go to sleep. And don't touch it until an hour after you wake up. Man, this was the hardest for me. I couldn't believe I couldn't do this. It was unconscious. I just grabbed my phone, right? We all do that. Going to go from this room, that room. We're going to get in the car, whatever. We grab a phone. Man, it's going to take you a while to do that. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to feel so much better not having that phone for the first hour, because your life will be calm and serene. And that doesn't mean you can't watch the news or whatever. But it means that for 1 hour of the day, you don't have your phone. You're not responsible for all those emails they're sending. Guess what? They're not sending them to you anymore. So you got all that time. You're not answering 90 emails a day. You understand? You got all that time, guys. Wake up. Now, there's another tough one I had to do. I had to disassociate everybody who only accepted the megalomaniac Tom running through their lives. I had to get rid of them. You know why? Because they only expected the old Tom, and they weren't even interested in the new Tom. And that's what it's going to happen in your life. So I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to lose some friends when you retire. I always say, if they want to leave, don't try to hold them, because nobody's going to be happy, right? Family. Ooh, this is another one. You got to build a wall. I mean, a tall one, soundproof, because now that you're retired and have all your time on your hand, guess what? You can fix the faucet. You can take the car to get it detailed, or maybe drop it off for an oil change, or 100 things these people can find for you to do to fill your time, because they don't want you to be lonely. Family, build that wall high. Only give them certain amount of access to you. You know why? Because they're not used to having you around, and you're not used to being around full time. You're going to see a lot of things that are going to shock you. I did when I was here full time, and looking through the security system. Sometimes when people didn't know, I was like, "Ooh, that's a different side of that person I didn't know." You see, so even your relationships are going to change, and yes, the one with your wife is really going to change. I'm not going to tell you how or why, because everybody's different, but get ready for the change. Now, at this point, you need a diary, or a three-wing notebook, or just a composition book, anything to write on. And you need to track these things. One, because you're going to forget and not do this some days and that some days, right? However, if you track it, guess what? All the pressure's off. Get it? It's on paper. You don't have to think about it anymore. And it works. It totally works. I put it on paper. Even if I never look at the paper again, I know it's on the paper. So it's something I have to do, right? Here's another really good sequence of events that when you're transitioning, right? Plan tomorrow. Take a piece of your paper in your notebook and put 2 lines across it: morning, afternoon, and night, right? So then you can tell you the truth. Around 1 o'clock, I put down nap, and I block it all out till 3. You know why? Because not for me, it's for the noisy people in my home that look at my schedule. And if I got it blocked out for a nap, nobody bothers me. And I got to tell you, I use Josh too a lot. I just write Josh meeting. So those are the things you got to do to control things, right? Let's talk about money. Oh my God. You are not going to have as much jingle in your pocket. Let's face it. You know, I don't care how wealthy you are, how much you have in your trust fund or your 401k, B, C, D, E, F, G. I don't care. You know why? Because your family will spend it for you. You're going to be so accessible that grabbing 20 or 50 from Pop Pop, who's sitting in his recliner, will be instantaneously taken advantage of. You got to put up that wall again. No, I'm not an ATM. I don't have any cash. You might have a couple of $1,000 in your pocket, but you have no cash. There's an ATM at the bank down the end of the street. Don't fall for that. You know, put those walls up. It will make you happier because then you'll have all this time to do whatever you want. Okay. So how do you figure out what you want to do? Big question. I mean, you were scheduled for the last 30 years. Your days were scheduled. Even your days off were scheduled. How do you like that? Now you can do whatever you want any day you want. You know? Guess what? If you don't want to mow the grass on Thursday, mow it on Sunday. That's your prerogative now. You don't have anybody to answer to. Do what you want. Stop asking for permission. Control your life. Be the most important person to yourself. And just enjoy your life. Like I said, I fish, I hunt, I target shoot a lot. It's one of the few things I can do now because most of that takes up our body strength. And I got to shoot a machine gun, an old M60 from Vietnam, but that's another story. So at this point, I got to do a commercial because that's what Josh says. So please, I'm the Weather Conversationalist. Like, subscribe, share, comment, beg, borrow, whatever it takes. I need that support. Like I said, I'm a glory hound. What the hell? I will put it to good use, right? So, Josh, say hello to the people. Let them know that you're really here.
Oh, I'm here. And I was preparing the aortic hope. I'm going to go ahead and put these up here. Again, aortic hope, St. Jude, Children's Research Hospital, Global PAD Association, theweightofmyheart.org, and rockfromtheheart.org.
God bless. See, Josh is the man. All right, let's get back on topic here. You were raised by people that went through the Depression, who went through World War II or Korea. These were people that were no nonsense. They called them the greatest generation. You know why? Because they absolutely didn't give a frog. You know why? Because they survived the Depression. They survived World War II. You think these people cared about anything? No. They were 10 feet tall and bulletproof walking around the streets of America. Please. I saw my dad probably a half an hour every day, and that was to stand by the TV and, hold the antenna. You have to understand it was a different world when, remember that world where you could go buy cigarettes for your mother? She'd give you $1 and you go down, buy 2 boxes of Marlboro Reds. I remember. Not my mother, but my grandfather. But it sounds better when you say your mother, because then you can tell, I remember my Aunt Marie with a cigarette in her mouth on the way to the hospital to give birth to one of the kids. I think it was Patty. No, it wasn't Patty. Whoever. So you got to understand, right? So these are the people that raised us. So you towed the line, and you've been towing the line ever since, God forbid, your parents passed away, and you still towed the line. They had imprinted on you the line, and even after they passed, you still towed the line. Well, that's not what Z's and A's are doing. Did you see that report about it? Z's are looking older than millennials? Yeah, Z's are looking older than millennials.
Not only have I seen that report, I happened to go to the Hollywood Casino for a stand up comedy act perhaps 2 months ago. And the comedian is a well known roast comic. He's up on stage and he has people just kind of line up to get roasted. So these people are getting ready to be made fun of. And he, at the end of this thing, he had interviewed maybe or roasted at least 5 or 6 people that he was for sure were in their late 30s or early 40s, and they were all fresh out of college, balding, aging, right in front of him. He was like, "Oh my God, West Virginia, you need to drink some water."
I thought this guy today that I met, he's a son of one of the people that were attending, so that he got an extra seat somehow, and he got in. I thought the guy was probably mid-40s. When he said he was 26 or 23, either one, 23 or 26, this guy looked like he was rode hard, hid in the gravel, and put up wet. Oh my God, he looked terrible. I mean, he had those dark circles like my father had at 80, you know. I'm serious, his skin wasn't good, and it kind of just vibrated that, like, you know, leave me alone. And I just was like, I was, first off, I was embarrassed. I'm telling this 26-year-old that he looks like he's mid-40s. I thought I was doing good. I didn't want to say he looked like he was 50. I would really put my foot in my mouth. Oh, all right. So, the interesting part of all this is I have to pretty much put the wrappers on this. Okay, I want to wrap this up because I don't want to make it too long because then you'll stop listening to me. God forbid you do that. I'll have to get Tweedledee or Tweedledum and have to run them around the house 10 times just to get my frustrations out. See, that's another thing about retirement. You can, if you're frustrated, you can, force other people to do your bidding because nobody wants to upset the old man. All right, limit the people you're letting into your life. You had let everybody in, even that asshole from production. You had to deal with these people. You don't have to deal with anybody anymore, and that includes family. You condense their time. You got to give them time every day. Don't go cold turkey on them. Give them some time. But keep cutting it down. Because every minute you are not dealing with somebody else's problems or somebody else's tale of woe. You got that minute for you, right? Good, good. This is good stuff. I'm telling you. You should be writing this down. Get a crayon, get a wall, write this stuff down. Anyway, rewatch the video. So don't expect people to cooperate with you because nobody wants to see you change because they're not going to change. And change is scary, even good change, right? You're the expert on your life. You are the expert on your life. So become the expert on your life. Start doing the things you enjoy. Every day I read for an hour. No, I'm still not. The only time I use audiobooks is when I need to consume something very fast. However, I like the book in my hand. I like that feeling. I like the smell of the pages. I like to turn the pages and see what's going to happen next. And if you ever read a short, what is it, a detective? Uh, had Come on, England. I can't think of his name. Famous Arthur Conan Doyle wrote it, and I still can't think of it.
Sherlock
See, that's
Holmes.
all Sherlock Holmes. That's a great page turner because when he set it up, you read 4 pages and then you know the next page, bang. And like I said, every 8 minutes something changes, right? So he 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 used that in his methodology of writing. They're very interesting books to read, and the books are always better. You know, like The Hounds of Baskerville. It's been made 600 times, but the book is still better. So give yourself an hour. I don't care if you read a newspaper, porn magazine, Ladies' Home Journal, how to fix a plumber, your contents of your plumbing, bathroom toilet. Instructions are always very entertaining because you know there's some Chinese guy halfway across the world laughing, going, "Stupid American." I got him again. Anyway, is that I can't do that, right? I'm sorry. If anybody's offended by that, go to your safe space. I'm old. I don't think about those things. Like, oh, we were at Dunkin' Donuts, and this guy, I think his name is Tim, but he goes by this Nunna Plume, and he's a really nice guy, and boy, he knows his facts. The guy is smart. I don't know where he worked, but he's always comes in. Seems like when we were in Dunkin' Donuts. But if you met him, he tells you right up front, "Yeah, I'm gay. You're not my type." It's a good joke, you know. It is an icebreaker, right? He was laughing at us because we're all talking about limiting and about controlling us and our space. You understand that? How that works? I hope so. I hope I didn't lose it in translation. And remember, people will sabotage. They may not do it intentionally. You know, if you ask them to do something, they may, truly forget. What I found, if I'm not doing for them, they're not doing for me. It's just human nature. So beware of that. And when it happens, write it in the book because you're not going to forget it. Yeah, you're not going to forget it. You're not going to remember it. It's as simple as that. Slow down. Slow down. I know you rushed for 30 years to get things done, but guess what? You don't have to run like a maniac through the wilderness because the only person you have to take care of is yourself. That's how this works. And it only works that way. If you're going to try to work it any other way than this way, good luck. Good luck. You'll be in divorce court with your wife. You'll be in secondary divorce court with your kids, and third level with your grandchildren. You just don't have to fight the fights that you don't want to. Just limit it. Don't everything. If you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? The old saying says, well, you've been a hammer for however long you work. Now you're not. Throw the hammer away because they see you with a hammer. They want you to do something. Oh, and that's the other point. Here's a really good point. Now, from the day you retire to the day you go to the big office in the sky, listen to me. Write this down. You got a crayon? You have to schedule every minute, every hour of the day. And I don't mean, 1:59 to 2:53. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about splitting the day up in 3 sections. What you want to do in the morning, what you want to do in the afternoon, and God forbid, where you can hide in the evening when all the herd of people come in. A good place for me to hide is on the back porch with one of the stinkiest cigars I have, because no one, they talk to me through the door. They, the door I have on there has a little mail flap. They will actually pick it up and talk to her. Scary. Scary how much people need to talk to you, right? Now, listen to me. The reason I'm saying this is important. You don't go over and fix the plumbing. You don't go over and fix the outlet. You don't go over and, pull the window out, take it to Lowe's, have new glass floated into it, bring it back, reinstall. You don't do that anymore. You are like that grand noble person that you are. And you will instruct your minions, your children, even your grandchildren. Your grandkids can, move shit. I don't care how little they are, just take a little piece. It's as simple as that. You are the man behind the curtain. You'll answer any question, but you don't pick up tools anymore. Do you understand that? It's important that you put this boundaries and walls and people with machine guns on top of them to protect yourself and your time. That's the most important thing. Now that you've retired, now that you're in this transition, think of it as going from one life to another life. Now, this life was to keep everybody in jingle, right? Mortgage company, the wife, the gas company, the kids, whatever, right? You, anybody tells you different, everybody goes to work for the same reason, to put the jingle in the bank. Because if we were all independently wealthy, we'd still work. Who's going to sit home on a beach in a tropical? Yeah, that's who I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm doing that. Let me win $80 million. Yeah, you and me. Salutamente. I'm at it. So I kind of lost it there for a minute. But you don't do that stuff anymore. You know, when the neighbor across the street calls up and says, "Oh, I got water coming out," and you've done it half a dozen times, so you're smart enough. You put a screw over the water turn off and you put a wrench on it so that when you go downstairs to turn the water off, you have a wrench. You don't have to run upstairs and get another wrench or whatever. You put a screw right over the cutoff and you hang a crescent wrench on it. See, that's a good homeowner's tip. That way, if you need to shut the water off quickly, you have the wrench there. Now, if you have grandchildren, the wrench will not be there. So you might as well grab a wrench on the way down anyway. Isn't that terrible? But I have to tell the truth. Slow it down. Understand how important that is. You've been going at 160 miles an hour for 30 years. This is your time to slow down. Why do I say slow down? You're getting older. Knees aren't bending like they used to. Getting up off the floor, you look like a turtle on your back. I mean, come on, guys. I don't care how much you work out. I guarantee these people have pains and aches that nobody ever thought about. They work through them. But I'm going to tell you, not for long. As you get older, things change. I have arthritis in my hands. It's terrible. All of a sudden, I'm holding a coffee cup and then I'm not. So weird. And I blame it on the dog. He hit my hand with his head and he lost control of the cup. Bad doggy. Bad doggy. What does he know? He's got a 5-second memory. You, on the other hand, you have all your memories. And you have all those skills, right? And you just want to use them. You want to be that all-knowing, wonderful person. You can be. Just don't touch anything. Just be there to verbalize and make sure they give you a beer or a whiskey or a good cigar in a comfortable chair while you instruct them. Now, I'm going to tell you something really works. GoPro. Well, they use their phones now, but GoPro a couple of years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. I carried one with me and I would give it to them. So if they had to go in a crawl space or something, they could, show me the picture, that stuff. I thought, probably don't even have to get out of the truck. Just look at the little screen, see what he's showing me, figure out how to fix it. Dun, 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 dun. So to wrap this up, and I swear to God, I'm wrapping it up right now. Please make the transition. Don't fight the transition. If you fight the transition, you're going to get depressed and you're going to start bumming out. And then you're going to 3 o'clock call me drunk as a skunk and my wife's going to get all pissed off. So do yourself a favor. Like you planned your whole rest of your life, or your wife planned it for you. And you know who I'm talking to. Anyway, please, if I can partake in any kind of instruction here, any type of remedy to make the transition, organize it, enjoy it, limits people, cut back on your spending, it will make you feel better. Be alone sometimes, be alone. I don't care. You like to go sit in the park and watch the girls go by? That's fine. As long as you're not acting like Chester and Molester, you'll be fine. Don't go with a van that says candy, free candy. That's not good. See, that's in the new world. You could do that before. You can't do that. Look, guys, I love you. I know that it's real important for me to get this message out to you because, believe me, I screwed it up. It took me many years to figure it out. Probably 4 years. The last 2 have been really good, but it was 2 years before that I finally figured out how to do this. And I didn't understand today that it wasn't something common. I thought somebody had put a video out there or somebody had put a book on how it makes the transition to being old and stupid. Because everybody's going to see you as old. And immediately the second word is, well, his information's out of date. All right. So I'm going to do a commercial, Josh. Okay. So Josh is going to put up all our 501Cs that we want you to support. But I'm going to say to you, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do with, put a note on a dart, throw it at Josh. Share this, if you know somebody that's making this transition, share it with them. Just maybe it will help them out. It didn't help you out because I can see that bored look on your face, but that's okay. At least I got it off of my chest, so I could put it next to that because I had it on my schedule for 5:30. I said I gotta get this out of my chest. I gotta make a video on it, and Josh makes it happen. So I just spit, throw up, whatever you want to call it. Remember, there's no mistakes. Okay, how much time we got, Josh?
We're sitting at the 20-minute mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got time for all the rest of this stuff. Unless you got something to say, Josh.
Oh, I'm waiting for you to share your thoughts on Penguin. I am waiting.
On what? I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
I'm waiting for you to share your thoughts on the Penguin.
Oh. Yeah. Yes, very dark. Is there a book to that series? Or is it just like
I I don't think so. I think it's a conglomeration of different outlooks on that character. Because when you look at just recently, there was a show called Gotham that was taking place for Bruce Wayne as a child coming up into becoming the idea of taking on the role of Batman. So he's a kid. And
Okay,
Selena Kyle is like a friend of his. But Oswald, who is the Penguin, is like a very tall, also very awkward, but the guy that plays that role in that show also does an incredibly good job. But this director is, he said he wanted to go dark. He said he wanted to go very dark.
okay, but for me, the Penguin has always been this comedic crime lord. Now, now it's a person with crunched up toes and a bracket on his leg, a brace on his leg. Uh, God, I can't. Sometimes I got to look away because in '86 when I went through my car auto accident off on my motorcycle, my face was in bad shape. They put it back together again. Yuri Tanzer, my attorney at the time, had another client who was a plastic surgeon. So he did a whole lot of work. But I would have looked like that. I'm serious. I would, you know, would have had even more scars. And I don't know how they would have fixed my jaw. But the funny part is I relate to the guy. He's just always on the edge. And he's got to always be thinking. And you look at the outside appearance and you're thinking, a slug. But this guy is so quick to turn things around. And you don't even feel like you're being manipulated. I have to rewind and go back through it because I'm like in awe and I'm missing some of the dialogue. I'm not listening to the secondary characters, which you have to do to get the gist of the whole story. But here I am, like totally mesmerized by this. But yeah, dark, dark, the humanity of it, not the comic of it, the humanity. Because Danny DeVito, I watched an interview last night. Danny DeVito just praised, uh, what's his name? The actor,
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, just praised him up and down and, said what a great take on it. Obviously, the writers had a different point of view than the other movies that, even the comic book was more comical and more, with the suit on and the top hat and the cane, it was a character, character. But this show, ooh, if you're not into darkness and into gritty worldly facts and uh, over the top, and here's the thing that I really enjoy: it's not over the top violence. It isn't like John Wick where somebody's being killed every 4.5 seconds. There may be 2, 3 deaths in the whole scene, but the deaths are like filmed in a way where you feel that was sudden. Boy, I bet you he's going to regret that. Or, man, that was calculated. I mean, I'm not going to give away too much, but when he stabbed that guy in the heating room, it was like he's cutting right through, just like the teacher, from you plunge the knife into the bottom of just below the rib cage and you cut directly across horizontal. That way you cut the aorta and your esophagus and you go through whatever organ, I mean, so the guy has skills, you know, granted he's murdering people, but that's still a skill, you know. We train people in the military to kill people. That's a skill. Doesn't translate real well to, oh, I want to be your purchasing agent. And by the way, if anybody attacks, I can kill them. Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, I'm glad you turned me on to it. I'm a little pissed off because I think I'm going to throw a whole composition notebook on my thoughts.
What I like about it is it's a little bit of dose of current culture, right? Because it's
Right.
interesting that you're bringing up the transition in general. Um, I don't know of many people who have transitioned into retirement that didn't continue doing something, whether it's sitting on the board of a nonprofit or kind of volunteer work. They always end up finding a thing to do that's not just a hobby. It's like a thing that keeps them to have a purpose, right?
However,
Mm-hmm.
limit it and schedule it.
Oh no, no, it's again, it's like it's less time investment than a hobby. It's less time. Like if they play golf way more than they do this activity. But it is a
That,
thing. It's a
that doesn't
thing that they
last.
do. Well,
That doesn't
for
last.
sure. I'm just talking about the time investment. It doesn't matter what their hobbies are. For some of them, it's like the worst hobby, drinking. That's a very expensive
That's not a
hobby.
hobby. That is a true profession.
No, it's a hobby.
If you transition from the 50s, you know the necessity of alcohol. Your
Well,
parents taught you that from a little age. I could get a beer and I was still in diapers. So, there's important cultural and family traditions here.
yeah,
As
I'm
soon
perhaps
as I could reach the
I didn't
counter,
start
I had to start
drinking
making highballs.
I didn't start drinking until I was 23, and my parents were, they were both pretty heavy imbibers, as well as my older brother. But for whatever reason, like, if I ever expressed any interest, it was condemning, oh my God, don't you do what we do kind of thing. But I wouldn't drink until I was 23 years old. I would be well done with college and on my way to profession before I started drinking.
Okay, so congratulations. Somebody like me from the 50s would say, you wasted a good 7 years.
Perhaps, right? The
Sorry.
current
Yeah,
literature
you opened the door, I had
today.
to
No,
walk
no.
through it.
The current literature today shows that the human brain doesn't finish its growth until the 25th or 26th year. And so there is
Okay.
some question about whether or not having any kind of substance be added to the system in that later stage of growth, whether that's good or bad, right?
Okay, I got it covered
So,
from the other end. Here's the 50s. We drank for reasons other than brain development. See, uh, we drank to celebrate, and we drank to mourn, and we drank to drink. One time we did, we drank to drink. That was pretty funny. But anyway, yeah, just a different way to look at it. Just generational, you know, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
one of the most interesting
penguins are really
things
good.
that my father ever said was, "I drink because I'm thirsty."
So if you go back, a John Wayne movie we talked about, The Quiet Man. Michael O'Shea said, "When I'm thirsty, I drink water. When I drink for myself, I drink whiskey or something to that effect." And I've always been that at the end of the day, which my end of the day was, usually around midnight, having a drink and then going home and grabbing a shower so I don't smell like a garlic clove and getting in bed. I never saw the problem with that. Was I killing brain cells? Listen, I've done worse. Head injuries, broken noses. Right now I have 3 active brain cells and one keeps me breathing. So you figure out what the other 2 do. But it's really important that Josh is right. You should limit the intake of alcohol until what, 23, 26, when your brain stops developing. But right now, I figure I have a body alcohol level of about I'm 73, so I'm going to say about 75%. Now, everybody's going to go, oh, that's so terrible. No, think about it. I'm always in pain, right? I could be taking oxycodone or morphine. I'm in that group. I have so much pain in so many areas that I have a standing order for a morphine drip if I ever want. They'll deliver it to the house, set it up, puncture my arm, and I can hit the button how many ever minutes they allow you. However, I found that pain medicines one half-life, like fentanyl, supposed to last 2 hours, right? 45 minutes. 45 minutes. That's what you get out of a shot of fentanyl. You better just look at the clock. As I'm telling you, as a long-time fentanyl user, believe me, it did not help me a bit. I'm glad I'm off it now because I could now see all the side effects that were giving me other medicine to fix the side effects from the pain medicine. You understand? Oxycodone. You know why people shouldn't take oxycodone, and the reason why they should not do it. They would stop doing it because it constipates you. You take 6 oxy in a day, you better take 2 ounces of mineral oil with it. Otherwise, you'll be screaming for 2 days on the toilet. Morphine. The only thing morphine did for me was sedate me and give me really wild dreams, and but never really dealt with the pain. I don't know why everybody wants morphine, but it didn't work for me. There's another transition. I had a transition, like 6 times within the 12 years. I had a transition from 3 years in a recliner. Don't pick up anything heavier than a gallon of milk, Tom. Don't climb more than 3 stairs at a time. Stop, rest. 3 more, stop, rest. Don't stream when you're on the toilet. Take your blood pressure 3 times a day and make sure it's right around 100. We're going to give you to 110, but above 110, we don't want to hear from you, because just call the ambulance, which I did 9 times the first year. I was like a frequent flyer. I wish they gave me points for being there, but that's another story. Just transitions, we all make them. Look, what's a big transition is divorce, right? I went screaming down the street because the woman was crazy. I didn't do much better, to the point where the redhead with green eyes, Celtic witches, on a week-to-week contract. I mean, I hide. I admit it. I hide from the grandchildren, from the children, from my wife. I hide from everybody. You know why? Because when I'm hiding, I'm doing something. Like I got all these things, I take cigar boxes, I put scenes in them. I take, these really unique logs and I put bird's nest in them, or I'll make a stream and put all these miniature characters like they're having a day at the beach or at the mountains, glue trees on them and things. Make them really nice. And I put real life moss. So you got to spritz it every once in a while to keep the moss alive. But that's another story. See, that's what I never had time for anything like that. My dad was a cabinet maker. He taught me how. But when I was working as a chef and law enforcement before that, I didn't have time for that shit. I had to make money. I had to feed these, rugrats. Baby needs new shoes. And that's what you did, right? You worked your butt off. Guess what? Now it's time for you. And if you don't take that time, the only person you have to blame is you. And if you think you're going to do it without organizing it, without hiding, without an excuse why you're gone to Lowe's for 3.5 hours. Lowe's is just 10 minutes away from your house. You have to develop these skills. Just like you develop the skills for the job, you have to develop these skills. You have to understand their expectations and then avoid them. It is all a process, a transition. The more you hide, the less contact you have with them, the less they suck the marrow out of you. I'm serious. I feel like I'm aging just talking to some of these people. My interns, it takes me a week to get them organized, right? But in that week, I lose 2.5 years of my existence because they just suck it out of you. It's a shame. They're alphas, or what's the next one? It's funny, it really is that here I am at 73. My claim to fame is if I wasn't a cop, I would be a criminal. If I wasn't a chef, I would have been a terrorist. I was a strange person. The organization of the kitchen was like a person that was a psychotic or psychopath, but he's controlled by medicine. That's who I was. I was that kitchen psychopath. As long as I was in the kitchen, everything worked well. It was my time outside the kitchen that usually screwed up. But that's another story, right? We'll talk about kitchens. A lot of stories about kitchens. Maybe we get Chef Rob on, because he's really got good stories. So Josh is giving me the finger again. I hate it when you do that, Josh. Can't you figure out something else to do? Anyway, so I figure we got 3 minutes. He'd give me the seconds. Like, subscribe, comment. I love your comments. I love reading them, even the bad ones. Yep. At one time, I was even fatter than I am now. You spent 3 years in a recliner, not doing anything. You'd be chunky too, because I was a chunky monkey. Anyway, I'm almost down to my fighting weight. I've lost about 150 pounds. So I'm trying to get down to like 220 at 258 now. But it's hard when you get old. Anyway, looks to me like we got about a minute, 10 seconds. Well, Josh, thank you again. I appreciate everything you do for me.
I like it. What are we going to talk about on Sunday?
Sunday, I think we should talk about the NFL being a 501c,
Yeah.
about communities building billion with a B stadiums for these 501cs that pay no taxes. I think we should dust that off and blow it up. What do you think, Josh? Good enough
Uh,
for you?
the people love circuses and bread, sir.
Okay. Thank you. God bless everybody. All God's blessings. I love you. Be safe. Come back. Come see us on Sunday. It's going to be a good show. We'll talk about some other 501cs like American Cancer Society and the Red Cross. And there's a lot of them that have only give 10% of whatever they collect out. Scary. And they're major ones. Major ones. With all the money we sent to Haiti, we could have made every person there a millionaire. If we just gave them the cash, said here, everybody in Haiti would have got $1 million. And that's how much all these places brought in on the Haiti crisis. Isn't that terrible? We've got vets right now that had their disability cut back from 80% to 60%. Just an arbitrary decision. They get a letter in the mail. Oh, you're no longer 80% disabled. You're 60%. So we're going to cut your money back. Now, this is what you're working for to get better, right? Now they're going to cut your money back and everything stops. You go back to where you were. It's another story. All right, Josh, I see it's time. Take care, everybody. Come back and see us. For Josh and me, I salute you.